So that's good. I mean, you know, a lot's happening. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get that. We'll see.
Good evening.
Good evening.
At this time, I'm going to call the meeting of Mayor and Council to order on Tuesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. If you would rise for the invocation by Councilman Alan Quinlan.
Lord, we gather tonight to serve our community. Help us act with integrity, listen with care, and speak with boldness. May our decisions tonight bring about justice, promote peace, and foster a better future for every citizen in this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
People think I'm drunk.
Just as a reminder to council, following our council meeting, we will have executive session this evening. Do we have any changes to the agenda for tonight's meeting?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. The minutes from our previous meeting held on June 9th have been provided to council in your packet. At this time, if there are no questions, comments, or concerns regarding those minutes, I'll accept the motion.
Councilwoman Grassett, I make a motion to approve those minutes.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Grassett. Is there a second?
Councilman Bradley, I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilman Bradley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Those pass unanimous. All right, at this time, we're going to move on to public comment. Is there anyone here this evening for public comment?
We have Harry Brake for public comment.
Mr. Harry, where do you go? There he is. Come on forward, sir. If you wouldn't mind saying your name and address just for the record.
Sure. My name's Harry Brake. My address is 911 Park Drive, Seaford, Delaware, 19973.
10-4.
Yep. I sent you an email, but I didn't do it 72 hours ahead of time. So what I'm gonna abbreviate a little bit because I've sent this to you and I don't want to repeat and waste your time tonight. So I'm basically just coming. I had some concerns regarding an amendment to Chapter 15 of the Municipal Code, and that would be amending 1513(6)A. And so I've coalesced a lot of the concerns of people that are my neighbors, and they've asked me to come and try to do that as brief as possible, just to let you know what my concerns are and what their concerns are. I came here a couple months ago, and I was talking about the same thing, and so since then I've been able to meet with Senator Huxtable and the Nanticoke River Watershed Conservancy and a few of the developers that are in Salisbury and Lewis, trying to get a better idea of what variances, when they're requested to be changed, and what, you know, they're taking concerns. So I've learned quite a bit, and that's helped a little bit as well. Some of the concerns I have regarding this variance request are just the distances that are between the residences currently. The reason why there's the existing distance is just to protect the existing wells and the sewage that have been already established by the residents in the area where, in this particular case, I know I've been talking with the neighbors and residents of Heritage Village. Basically, what I'm understanding is the reason why the mandate, the way it is now in the, is in the distance, is to protect in the future when there's shifting of the land and the ground, and that allows for not only protection of the sewage, but also for the protection of the wells that have been put in, and for some of the new sewage. Some of the neighbors have been asked to put new sewage systems in, and so it's just to protect those existing things, which is usually pretty obvious, which is why, you know, there's usually a set amount of feet between residences. But then also the distance between the individuals, as far as allowing people the amount of light that comes through between different buildings. I understand that part of the reason why there's certain feet between different residences is because they allowing a certain amount of natural light to come through. And it's not just for the housing and the residences, but it's also for the different vegetation and trees and landscaping that's there as well. So I know that's one of the things that we're concerned about if that is changed as far as the distance. The other thing is that's been expressed by a couple neighbors is just the amount of noise reduction. There's several neighbors in our neighborhood and as well as neighboring neighborhoods that have students and siblings that are autistic, and they're very sensitive to sound, but they're also very sensitive to space and movement and relationship to space between people moving around them. And I know several neighbors, because they're parents of people that are autistic, they're very concerned about what would happen if the change between feet and residences changes. They're very concerned about that. The only other aspect that I wanted to bring up was just the impact about that most of the people that have lived there for generations came to that area because they knew that that was the existing footage between residences, and they have, and even the new people that moved in, they've come in knowing that they prefer the distance between the residences. It's been a comfortable place to raise their children, but the generations that have raised and grown up there, they moved there for that reason. So they're worried about the changes that would happen to that, asking for a variance for footage that would change the whole reason why they moved there in the first place, and even why their parents moved there, and why their grandparents moved there, and some of the younger children that are being raised there, they're happy with that because it's very suitable for the neighborhoods and the communities to get along together. So I've been reviewing over, the pros and cons of doing a variance, and like I said, these are the most common ones that I've come across when I've talked to other developers, but also Senator Huxtable is a really big proponent of affordable housing, and I know that's a big issue in Delaware, and I know that's a big issue in Seaford, so I know that's something that we need a lot of. And I'm not trying to say that I'm against that. I'm not against that at all. I know families that are trying to find affordable housing, and I'm a teacher, I'm a librarian, and I understand that that is a need to keep people in Seaford. But I'm also respectful of, like, when people move into certain areas, they move into certain areas because they know that a certain existing footage is between residences, and that's what makes their life and their families and their residences a good community. So thank you for listening for what I said, and thank you for the time that you've given me to be able to express my opinion. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Do we have anybody else here this evening for public comment?
No, there's no one else here for public comment.
Thank you, Beth. Okay. Do we have anybody here for correspondence?
We do not, sir.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to enter into a public hearing here at 7:07 p.m.
Councilman Quillen, I'll make that motion.
A motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second that.
Councilwoman Grassett, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're entering a public hearing at 7:07 p.m.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
Council,
evening.
City Manager. For the first item on tonight's public hearing, it's to present a petition for annexation from ARKA Assets Limited for annexation of tax map and parcel 531-10.00-234.01, located on the east side of Atlanta Road, approximately 125 feet north of William Ross Lane in Seaford, Delaware. So we did receive a formal request for annexation from this individual for this piece of property. And in their request, they have asked for annexation for R2 medium density residential. And their reasonings for requesting annexation are for city utilities and city policing. Thank you. This is the property in question, just north of Governor's Grant off of Atlanta Road there, highlighted in yellow. It's approximately between 18 and 19 acres on that currently ag farmland. I said that's the site there. That's the tax parcel map. Let's go to the next one, please. And in the city's comprehensive plan, this property is identified as the center city growth area in the annexation plan there. And we did receive a letter from the State Office of Planning that they have received and accepted our completed plan of services for the property. And that details how the city utilities and policing and everything will be extended to that property if it is annexed. If the annexation is successful, we will have to notify them to update our zoning maps and comprehensive plan at their office. That's all I have for it. If there's any questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Vice Mayor.
Just would like to note that I was a member of the annexation committee that was in favor of this annexation that was recommended.
Okay. Councilman Quinlan.
Yes, and I'll also say I was a member of that too as well.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask for questions or comments from the public regarding this matter. Yes, sir. If you wouldn't mind coming forward, if you wouldn't mind just saying your name and address into the microphone for the record.
David Haggerty, 117 William Ross Lane, Seaford, Delaware.
Thank you.
We have some questions regarding the annexation of the property. What type of houses are going to be in there? The number of houses? What's the price range? The water runoff, the infrastructure, the roads, the schools? And most important, will our water and sewer and electric rates go up because of this annexation? And will there be any privacy for the residents on William Ross Lane?
Thank you, sir. Mike, do you have any, want to answer any questions, or you have what we have, or?
Can I try?
Please, City
Okay,
Manager.
this is merely an annexation?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have plans. This is the annexation of raw land.
Okay.
It is in our comprehensive plan, as the building official stated. I can tell you, we can tell you, R2 zoning, the minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet. So when you do the math on that, the maximum density is approximately 10 dwelling units per acre, okay? They would have to fall into all of our other codes and ordinances. So when a plan for development is presented, it'll come back through the planning and zoning process of review, council review, that'll all be advertised, so on and so forth. So the questions you have will be further answered as engineering development occurs.
Yep.
What's before the city and the council currently is merely the annexation of additional
Right,
lands
right.
to the city. Does that help?
So, yeah, so you're saying there would be 10,000, or I'm sorry, 10 houses per acre?
Correct. Yeah.
And how many acres was it again?
18.8. I'm
Now-
sorry, 18.68.
The-
Just for reference, it's the same zoning as your neighborhood.
Correct, right.
So we would see, I believe, that same type of development that's permitted there.
Because when I saw the map, it only showed half of that
That, yeah,
property.
that lot's been subdivided. Would you
So-
mind going back?
So only half of that is going to be annexed?
Well, that's
And-
what's
well,
up for
what's
annexation.
the other half going to be? Agricultural?
Farm field.
Farm
We
field.
don't know.
So it's going to be closer to our development instead of the other development, correct?
That's what's up for annexation, is border and Governor's Grant.
Right there.
Correct, sir.
So that other half, will there be no houses at all, so they're going to,
I mean, they could come, that property owner could come forward at any time
Right.
and request annexation. We don't have an annexation petition in front of us today.
so in that little yellow area, there's 18 and 19 acres.
18.68, I think is actually the
18.6.
number. It's actually in one of the documents. I can give it to you. 18.69 acres.
Okay, well, that answers my question.
That help?
Thank you much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions or comments from the public on this matter? Okay.
So for the second item on tonight's public hearing, this is to present an amendment to Chapter 15 of the Municipal Code of Seaford by amending subsection 15.13.6A revised site coverage requirements and building placement requirements, and this is in the R3 section, specifically the area and bulk regulations. The site coverage amendment, as it's presented, will read the sum of building coverage 20% and paved coverage 15% shall not exceed 35% maximum of the gross site area. Building coverage and paved coverage may be apportioned between one another, provided the combined total does not exceed 35% maximum. Currently, the code is just building 20, paved area 15. So this gives a little bit of flexibility where they can have a little more paved area and a little less building area, as long as it doesn't equal over 35%. So they can play with their numbers a little bit to make the site work for them if it's an odd property where it doesn't really fit. Clarified where side yard for a townhouse end unit is 10 feet, and that just added the word townhouse in there because it wasn't really defined. And then the last amendment is for building placement, and this is specifically in regards to residential condominium dwellings developed as detached principal buildings, and we are amending it to be located a minimum of 16 feet from any other residential condominium detached building on the same lot or development site, and this is, as it's written now, is 25 feet to any other multifamily dwelling building on each site. So this clarifies that it's specifically for the residential condominium units that have to go to the Board of Adjustment for a special use exception. That gives them the same building separation setback as our R1 zone, which does permit a minimum of 16 feet. So that's the revisions. I don't know if there's any questions.
All right. Any questions or comments from council?
So you're saying that this change makes it equal to any other R1 restrictions, that
Just for the building separation on that
no
line.
difference in any other neighborhood that we've got that falls under R1, or even, what would
R2 is less than that. You can be 12 feet in R2.
okay.
Any additional questions or comments from council? Are there any questions or comments from the public? Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Mike. Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing and reopen our regular meeting.
So moved.
A motion from Councilman Bradley. Is there a second?
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. We are going to resume our regular meeting here at 7:17 PM. All right. We'll move on to new business number one. I understand my friend Charles Kistler is not here tonight, but in his stay, I believe we have Miss Mallory Benet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You all know me. It's good to see all of you. So I'll be giving you an update on the Project Safe Neighborhoods, which is the new program that we have going on here in City of Seaford. So I'll give you a brief update. So to date, we have received 126 online form application, which is referrals that come out of the route card that we have in the counter out there, and the door hangers and business cards that we normally provide to the clients so they can call us. So all of this 126 online forms, we have transitioned them to, of course, an appointment and a service provided. Currently, we have assisted nearly 200 clients within the city limits. We have expanded our reach and ensured residents are aware of this free services. We have actively engaged with community partners, like there's this one program called Seniors Helping Seniors. We met this lady in Independence Drive. She knew almost everyone that lived near her, so she was able to tell them to call us and make appointments. So we were able to get at least 10 people out of there, which is awesome. Seniors helping people. Seniors helping seniors. There's also Network Connects. There's two young ladies. They go to Hampton Circle every other Wednesday. They provide activities to the seniors, meals, and other services they need. They have been able to give us 35 referrals thus far, so that's great. We are also continuing to build new partnerships. We have recently met with Love Inc., Le Red, both Seaford and Georgetown. We're trying to establish a partnership that would help us connect more residents with available resources and services. Our outreach efforts have included setting up informational tables here at the City Hall. I'm sure you have seen me here. We have already hosted 2 outreach events, and we'll host another one tomorrow. The ladies at the counter say they may not be so busy, but we're gonna try to get as many people as possible because we're trying to make them aware of the service, that it's free, and if they need help signing up for the service, we're gonna be here to help them as well. We have also conducted outreach throughout the community by setting up informational tables at Save-A-Lot, Food Lion, and Walmart, where we have been able to get at least more than 5 people to sign up every time we go there. Our goal is to help residents to reduce their energy consumption, improve home energy efficiency, and access available assistance programs, including resources supported through the Delaware Energy Assistance Funding, which is the program that we have with Energize Delaware. We have distributed door hangers within the city limits as well to provide information to residents who may not be able to attend community events or they do not know other neighbors that have received the services too. I would also like to recognize Michelle and Kristen. They have really been helpful because they go out of their ways to make sure that the people get the information they need. If they have not received a phone call, they will give them my number so they can call me. So that's really impressive from them. So that's my update. We're still working to get more people. I think like 200 is not a good number, but we can get to. We just started this in April. We're just in the kind of June ending, but I'm sure we can get more people, and we're still working to get that. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from council? Vice Mayor?
What is your goal? How many people are you setting out to serve?
How many people are in City of Seaford? Our goal is to get to all of them. Our goal is to get to all of them, but at least I'll say, I don't know, 50% of our residents, we should get to them because there are a lot of them who need this assistance and it's free for everybody. So we're trying to get to all of them.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments from council?
You've been easy on me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you for
Benet.
what you're doing. Thank you.
And please send my regards to Mr. Charles, my battle buddy. At this time, I'm going to move on to new business number 2, and our Chief of Police, Marshall Kraft, and Lieutenant Walter Little.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having us. I'm going to turn the first half of the presentation over to our patrol lieutenant, the illustrious Lieutenant Walter Russ Little.
Listen to this guy. All right, I am not very technically savvy, so you've got me? Good, good. All right, we're obviously here tonight for the, who here lives in Westview?
There we go.
You know why we're here tonight. You've got a problem over there. So we're here to talk about traffic control proposals. Get the next one. On May 8th, I installed what's called a JMAR radar box on this would be Delaney, and had it there till May 20th. There's really not a speeding problem on Delaney, but I noticed as I was installing this box, there is a lot of traffic coming into Delaney from Westview, a lot of Amazon employees, and there's a lot of traffic. They're called, I guess, flex cars that do deliveries for Amazon, and vans that are leaving that facility, and they're coming out into the Westview neighborhood instead of going down to Stein Highway, which, on a side note, I've had several meetings with Amazon management and have asked them to make sure that their employees, when they exit out, that they go out to Stein Highway. It's pretty much So in this period, you can see there was 13,480 vehicles that passed through there. Speed's not a problem in that area, but the amount of cars is a problem. Next slide. Oak Street, May 5th, I set up the box and had it there till the 8th. Even in that short period, 2,513 cars passing through there. There is a speed problem there, as the neighbors have suggested. 85 percentile of people are traveling 39.3 miles per hour, which is almost 15 over. It's way too fast in a residential neighborhood. Next slide. So to sum this up, Delaney doesn't have a speed issue, but volume is very significant for that residential area. Oak Street, the volume is high. The speed is a major concern due to the 85 percentile being almost 15 miles per hour over the limit. Traffic enforcement has been ongoing and identified the area as an issue, but that's dependent on call volume, officer availability, additional traffic enforcement elsewhere. We just cannot say that we can dedicate a police officer to that area 24/7. Seaford's a busy town. It's not Mayberry. We just can't dedicate somebody there. So one of the proposals would be speed humps. This would involve approximately 19 humps spaced evenly on Oak, Locust, and Delaney. These are designed to maintain consistent low speeds on the main neighborhood thoroughfares. They're likely to reduce traffic speeds and volume. Next one. This one I like. Barrier gates. These would be placed at the road ends of Delaney, Allen, and Pennsylvania, and it will virtually force all Amazon traffic from Delaney out to Stein. They'll have no reason to come into your neighborhood. Possible concerns would be an increase in traffic to Delaney and Stein intersection that could result in collisions. There was a crash study, and I think Chief's going to talk about that a little bit later, for the prior 3-year period. You want to jump in, Chief? Huh? Jump in.
Okay, so what does all that mean? What's all this traffic causing besides quality of life issues? I think this traffic crash study is going to show you exactly what's happened. So we actually did 2 sets of 3-year studies. The first set, which isn't showed on the slide, but I'll talk about it briefly, was from June 21st of 2020 through June 21st of 2023. Amazon got their CO in 2022 and slowly and gradually built up their full staffing. And I think what you're going to see is coming into the 23, June 21st of 23 through June 21st of 2026, which is the second set, is really the post-Amazon era. You're going to see the significant traffic crash difference. It's broken down along the entire corridor between Sussex Avenue and Delaney. And then we also broke it down just to give you a better view of the area between Sussex Avenue and Pennsylvania or Oak in that one quadrant to the right there. So just to give you an example, during the post-era Amazon 23 to 26, from the June 21st to June 21st timeframe, there was 45 total crashes. And you can see the first year they were there, the first full year, it increased to 20 crashes. And then it went to 11 crashes, and then this most recent past year was 14 crashes throughout that entire corridor there. And we'll talk a little bit about, see all the little yellow dots below the corridor into Westview? Well, that's really, I think, is going to be eye-opening when we get a little bit further for the percentage of increase in crashes pre and post Amazon, just in the Westview community, not to mention the corridor. So as you can see, 32 of the 45 crashes during the post-Amazon era occurred between Sussex Avenue and Pennsylvania, or Oak, that little side alley. And And then the remaining 13 crashes occurred west of Pennsylvania Oak. And I think it's important to break down of those 13, the one that you see at the very bottom of the grid there, all the way to the left is just outside the town limits, but it was close, so I included it. And 4 of those 13 were animal crashes. So really you had 8. So really you're looking at 32 crashes over here where it's highly congested with all the traffic's trying to stop and turn left to go through Westview to get to Amazon. And then 8 as you go further to the left, westbound. And I think the point is, I think that if the traffic was to continue through the intersection without starting and stopping at all of the different little side streets, I think you're going to probably significantly reduce crashes overall throughout the corridor. And what we did, we wanted to pull up, this is a list of the dates and times for each of the post-air 3 years, and it's hard to see there, but what's important is in the first year there was 3 crashes highlighted in yellow in 2023. Let me back up a minute. In June 21st of 23 to June 21st of 24. And what we did, we took the drop-off and pickup times for the Montessori, because that's a concern that I have, right? Increasing traffic going past the Montessori. But within that, we added a half hour before and a half hour after each of the pickup and drop-off times. And so we came up with 3 crashes along that entire corridor, not necessarily in front of the Montessori, but from Sussex all the way to Delaney. 3 that potentially occurred within that half hour on either side of the pickup and drop-off. And then the next year, post-air, was 2, and then we currently have had 2 this current past year. And so what that tells us is most of the Amazon start and stop times for them is before the pickup and after the drop-off. So I think that reduces some of my concern. And here you'll see highlighted in the blue circles there, this is once again the post-air. We focused a lot on the post, but I am going to bring in some more of the pre-Amazon airs just to give you those comparators. But the blue circles represent injury crashes. So the first year of the study, at the beginning of the 3-year post, was 5 PI accidents. The one PI accident at Delaney was, if you recall, it was a tractor trailer stopped to turn left onto Delaney and an elderly lady ran into the back. It's a horrific crash, but the truck was stopped, signal light was on, and it was properly turning. Unfortunately, she didn't see or, and recognize that, and so she crashed into the back of the truck. Other than that, you can see that there's very little crash activity on the west side. And I think it's really because there's not so many people coming and going across north and south across that Stein Highway area there. And then in 24 to 25, there was 2, and then 4 this most recent year. Half of which occurred over on the western corridor there. Next. And so what I want to do now is just talk real quickly to give you the percentage increases between the pre. We probably should have put a slide or 2 in there for that, but we were at a rush to finish this. So in June 21st of 2020 to June 21st of 2023, there was 19 total crashes, right? Along that entire corridor versus 45 in the post-air. And what that represents is 26 additional crashes since Amazon opened up for 136.8% increase in crashes. Most of which have all occurred, generally speaking, over on the west side between Sussex and Pennsylvania or Oak. And the other thing I think is even more disturbing, really, that justifies even more why we need to stop the flow of traffic is in that same time frame, pre-Amazon, 2020 to 2023, there were 7 total neighborhood crashes. During the post-air, there were 19. That's 12 extra crashes or 171.4% increase in crashes. And I think that's something that has to be looked at because no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to stop the volume of traffic by simple enforcement. We just don't have the resources. We can't follow Amazon delivery trucks around. Most of them don't fall under the ordinance section for the weight, right, because they're flex vehicles. Even the vans are underweight, and you simply can't discern which ones are delivering locally or not. We just can't follow them around. So if we want to reduce crashes, improve quality of life and traffic safety, then I think it's time where we're going to have to make a decision, or the council will, to whether we just continue to do the study, try to continue to do increase in speed enforcement, put the gates up, and then continue to do studies would be my recommendation. Put the gates up. Keep doing directed patrols, especially over on the Oak side where the lieutenant said we've got about a 15 mile an hour, 85th percentile increase in speed over the speed limit. And then we can also put the JMAR box up, do the traffic and volume studies, and also, see if we have a further need, and then come back and revisit if we need to install a couple of speed bumps versus 19 speed bumps. You just can't put it on lockdown like that. The cost of it's outrageous to start with, and the maintenance and the repair and the snow removal, it's not feasible. So our recommendation tonight would simply be to consider putting the gates. Now, I've reached out to the state of Delaware because two of those gates, Pennsylvania and Oak, are both really going into the rear parking lot, private property parking lot of Department of Elections. They have signs posted, no through traffic. They don't want traffic going through there. I've not received a call back yet, but I'll continue to follow up with them. I would recommend trying to first, if we do the gate, if you approve that, to start with Delaney, and let's work with the state to try to put up the other two. And if they don't, maybe there's a potential there to monitor that a little bit. And if it's no improvement, then continue and put those gates up. But ideally, we get the state to pay for their two gates. And you got a lot of kids that play in a community, in a neighborhood with 174% increase in traffic crashes. I think that's the right thing to do.
Thank you,
I think
Chief.
these three strategically placed gates will take care of the problem as far as Amazon employees going to or coming from that facility. And then it'll just be a neighborhood thing, local traffic.
Before I turn it over to council, I want to just agree with your sentiment. I think you described it very well. We've asked Amazon previously, and it's fallen deaf ears. So now that's why we're here. So I appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you.
I would like to say this about Amazon. I do know that they have a lot of delivery service providers, so they contract people. I don't know how much control they have over that workforce. You know what I mean? And technically, you can't prohibit it, really, because it's not delivering. They're just simple cut through. So I hate to point a finger at a business, but I'll tell you, we have talked to them until we were literally blue in the face.
I don't think we're pointing a finger at a business. I think we're keeping our community safe.
Yes.
And that's what it boils down to. So.
Industry's good for the town. We all know that. But this is a quality of life issue for these people in that neighborhood. And that's what it boils down to.
Councilman Quillen, I
Yeah.
know you have a question.
Going back on Delaney Street there, you identified it not actually as a speeding problem, but how much of it also is not obeying the stop signs going through there?
So while I was there setting up the box, they were, because they saw it was a police officer, they were here. I'm quite sure
Yeah.
that
Well, I
was.
mean, I hear from the residents too, so I know what they're seeing as well, and on that.
But I was just amazed at how much traffic is coming in out of people going to work, coming in from Westview neighborhood, and then all the flex vehicles and vans leaving out.
Yep.
And maybe one or two went out towards Stein, but the rest of them right into Westview. And I know doggone well they're not making deliveries all through there.
Excuse me,
So.
officer.
Well, don't,
18-wheelers, tractor trailers are coming down to Laney and Oak.
Okay.
Barely making a turn, almost taking the telephone pole out.
I counted
Oh.
9 in one day.
Thank you, guys. Any questions or comments from council?
I just want to thank you for doing the study. I'm the one that initiated getting you guys out there because I had heard from several residents, so thank you very much for doing that. It's the first step in making it safer. I just don't start tracking how many times Amazon comes down Houston Street because it's a lot, I'm
To
just
your
going to
house,
say.
right?
Yeah, but I appreciate this, and I think we're going to make it safer.
Yeah,
I do have one comment. I mean,
Yeah.
now, since if we pass anything here tonight and put gates up, we're going to be directing all this traffic out to Stein Highway.
yeah.
I definitely see an issue that we're going to have there. Is there a possible solution in the future if there's a lot of accidents that are created there, more accidents now? Are we going to go to a three-way stop sign there?
No, there's a couple things. One, I think I said it a while ago. I think by creating a barricade, well, I'll say barricade, putting the fence up, the gate up where there's no cut through there, you're not going to have so many cars bottlenecking, stop and a turn, and cars coming up behind them and running into the back of them. Most of those crashes are rear-end collisions, and people simply trying to get and move around in that small, short distance. I think if you get the free traffic moving, you're going to reduce at least half of those crashes right off the bat.
Wow.
Number one. Number two, that's where the patrol lieutenant comes in, because that's where the dedicated directed patrols come in through our frontline system. So we can put that in there during these times, because now we have the traffic studies for those crash times, so we know when that volume is. So he can put out the directed patrols for speeding and things of that nature. And the next thing is, I don't know how many people remember them, I know everybody's in favor and support of it, is our electronic speed monitoring devices that we are moving forward with. And that's going to be one of the corridors they're going to be placed on. So I'm going to say it, and people probably should pay attention to it, because there's probably tens of thousands of citations being issued daily at each of these locations at the higher traffic locations. And in towns like Newark, we were just talking about it today, people that have that want to go twice the speed limit, they're going to find themselves owing thousands of dollars if they don't slow down. So that's coming by the end of the year. So that'll be kind of playing into conjunction with this, with directed patrol. And we are trying to put in funding for OHS for what's called a centipede. That's where you have multiple police cars through a corridor, and you're doing different types of patrol enforcement. And that's proven to be very highly effective too. So those are things that we have planned, and I think the lieutenant's already got the centipede proposal to try to send to OHS to get funding for that. So it doesn't cost the city funds to do those types of enforcement in high crash corridors, if that helps.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it also should be noted, your crash data in sort of reduced from 25 and 24, 25, and 26, and that correlates basically with the time that you were successful at reducing speed limits.
Yes, sir.
Through that area on Stein Highway. So
Yeah. And enforcement.
As you're doing more enforcement with the speed cameras and the LPRs, you're going to be able to control the flow of traffic, even though it's going to be more volume at Delaney and West Stein Highway. I think it's reasonable to assume that it's not going to create any more impact on traffic safety there with the increased volume.
I believe a reduction in crashes.
Right. I think most of your accidents are occurring at Chapel Branch Road as they're speeding to get out of town, as they get out of that speed limit. On that curve, right.
Yeah, and that has been mentioned by the fire chief, but that's state police jurisdiction.
Yep.
It took us several attempts to be able to get that speed reduced through DelDOT for traffic calming measures, and it took a couple of years.
And I do just want to add one more thing. As liaison for police and fire, we did meet with the fire chief on Monday and went through this proposal, and so he's well aware of what may happen if these gates do go in, and what changes that'll mean for the fire department, and then they will make the adjustments they need to make in case there's any emergencies in your neighborhood and they need to get to people. They're going to know exactly what they need to do, and will have access to those gates.
There will be access for first responders, fire, police, EMS, city officials. There'll be a mechanism on the gates to be able to get through if need be as well. Yeah.
But essentially, Chief, if I remember correctly, these three gates are going to be pretty much beyond the neighborhood. Yes. The way they're placed. And so there's really not going to be any impact to them.
No.
It would be for the Amazon facility.
Yeah, I would mention too, the city manager and the electric department have gotten together and discussed it too. If council does vote to approve the gates, there's also lighting planned, I believe,
Yes,
to
sir.
put over top of each gated
Yeah,
location.
just to flesh that out a little bit, the chief is absolutely correct. The Director of Public Works got two prices for gates, steel and aluminum, 3 gates. The lowest bid was $18,000, so these are $6,000 apiece. Chief is correct, we did have the lieutenant and the electric department look at the locations. We'd install it beyond the alleyway, so the residents would still have access to their alleyway. We would install additional lighting at the gate location. We don't want it in a dark area where someone might run into it in the evenings. That's another $819 in materials. So this would come along with a fiscal note of right around $20,000, unless Chief Kraft is successful in working with the state of Delaware Department of Elections to
So that was my
add their 2
question.
gates.
A question more about the procedure of this motion is the council can go from mild to wilderness. They can say speed calming measures, right, which is a very vague term, or they can go to specifically the gate terminology. But to Chief's point, there's potential option where the state could provide funding for the 2 additional gates. So for the motion standpoint, does it behoove us to go all the way and say 3 gates? Do we go with 1? And we have to come back for 2 additional, just for Vice Mayor?
The verbiage in the recommendation, you have a preferred recommendation and you have an alternative recommendation. It could just be mentioned that way.
Okay. My clarification was regarding the state funding. You know what I'm saying, like, so.
The alternative recommendation, it says, should the Department of Elections decline to install access control measures, the city of Seaford should install emergency access gates.
So we could go with the funding option from the city level and not come back for council again.
If that's the way the council prefers.
10-4, just want to clarify.
I would like, and I appreciate, the Vice Mayor is absolutely correct, the Chief's laid it out well here. But because speed bumps were mentioned, just for the minutes purposes, if gates is the direction we'd like to go, could we add to the motion that it's the gate option that we want to proceed with?
Okay. Mine does not have the alternative option motion. That's why I was a little confused.
It's in your, sorry,
It's in the chief's
it's in
document.
your memo.
Ah, okay, there it is. Go.
I overloaded you with documents.
You
my
did. You
apologies.
did. It's all right, Chief. It's all good.
I wouldn't say overloaded,
Yeah.
provided good background.
Are there any additional questions or comments from council? Okay, at this time, I'll accept the motion.
So I'm going to try to craft this
Yep.
together.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of Chief of Police Marshall Kraft and Lieutenant Walter Little to implement traffic calming measures in the area of Oak Road and Delaney Street to address the documented traffic and speeding issues as presented. Those measures would include gates. Should the Delaware Department of Elections decline to install and access those control measures in their 2 streets, then the city of Seaford would look at installing those gates at all 3 streets. And the gates would prohibit public vehicular traffic while allowing access for emergency vehicles.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Grass. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I'll second that.
We have a second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Good job, Russ.
Yep. On to new business number 3, and Miss June Merritt. There she is.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
So in your packet, you have a request for financing proposals. In the FY26 budget, we had several vehicles that we were purchasing throughout this last fiscal year, and they were budgeted to be obtained with loans or financing of some sort. And so I did solicit quotes from 8 of our local financial institutions. I received 4 responses. And out of those responses, Community Bank Delaware had the lowest 5-year fixed rate at 3.63%. And just due to the economic times, I am recommending fixed instead of variable. They were the only institution that provided a variable rate, but I just feel like it's the industry is kind of volatile at this point, so I would recommend a fixed rate of 3.63 with Community Bank Delaware.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments from council? Councilman Bradley,
I have a comment.
please.
I follow interest rates fairly heavily, and I had a conversation this morning. Right now, there's a manufacturer that's offering employee pricing, but it is my understanding that they are making up front with higher interest rates, and they're up around 7-8%. So I think that Jack Little is really, as a Seaford resident, is really paying attention to the city and wants to help the city as much as he can. And I commend him for that.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Any additional questions or comments from council? All right, if there are none at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Henderson, hang on just a second.
Sure.
Okay. Make a motion to award the financing for vehicle purchases during the fiscal year 26 budget to Community Bank Delaware for a 5-year fixed rate of 3.63% as presented. Question on the motion. Says fiscal year 26.
Yes.
You're gonna execute that before the end of this month?
Yes.
Okay.
That is our plan.
Okay, very good. So, my motion stands.
10-4. All right, is there a second on the motion?
Councilman Bradley, I second the motion.
And a second from Councilman Bradley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Pass
you.
unanimously. Thank you, June. And on to new business number 4.
All right, council has in their package ordinance 2026-A1, and this is an ordinance to annex 18.68 plus or minus acre parcel located on the east side of Atlanta Road, approximately 125 feet north of William Ross Lane, owned by ARKA Assets Limited. It is tax map and parcel 331-10.00, parcel 234.01. This is the annexation ordinance for the public hearing that was presented by the building official earlier. This ordinance would outline that the boundary of the city of Seaford, as presently established, would be extended to include the annexation of those certain tracts of land consisting of the 18.68 acre parcel. Plan of services has been completed in accordance with the Delaware Code and accepted by all necessary agencies. The here described 18.68 parcel of land would be zoned R2 medium density residential district, and the said area one annexed will be included in the geographical and political subdivision. As stated in our city charter under annexation, the city building official would be directed by the council to secure the description and plot of the territory to be recorded in the Office of Recorder of Deeds, Sussex County, Delaware. And then the ordinance would be was introduced today, and then would be adopted should council choose to do that on today's date. It would be, if approved, would be executed by the mayor and the city manager. This is a requirement of our charter, and this is the basic last step by city council in the 3-month annexation process. I'll try to answer any questions council might have, sir.
Thank you, City Manager. Are there any questions from the council or comments?
I'll make one
Councilman
comment
Quinlan.
here because I was on the annexation committee. And one reason why I think the developer or owner really wanted to come forward and do an R3 zoning on this. And he was convinced that that probably would not go through council or go through Board of Adjustments as well. So I'm thinking that, as we annex and get larger into our city, and R2 is more acceptable for that area, for that location with the other housings around there. So an R3 definitely could have created a lot of other concerns.
Thank you, Councilman. Any additional questions or comments from council? Okay, if there are none at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-A1 that would annex Sussex County Tax Map Parcel 531-10.00 through 234.01, located on the east side of Atlanta Road, approximately 125 feet north of William Ross Lane, Seaford, Delaware, 19973, owned by ARKA Assets Limited, as presented.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I will second that.
Second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Now on to old business number 1.
Since that was a public hearing, should there be a roll call vote?
It would not hurt if, that's a good point of order, Vice Mayor. Would you mind doing a roll call vote?
I guess the question would be, since we already got a motion approved, is that,
Yeah.
it's not going to hurt to do a roll call vote, just to
It
make
would
sure.
not. We can,
Okay.
yeah, you're correct.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a roll call vote, just roll back to new business number 4, just because we had a public hearing prior to. Just make sure we check all of our boxes. We're going to ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
I vote yes based on the benefits presented in the annexation committee meeting and before council the previous meeting. I vote yes.
Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
I vote yes based on the information provided.
Councilman Alan Quillen.
I vote yes based on the information provided.
And Councilman Mike Bradley.
I vote yes, based on the information provided.
Okay, passes unanimously. Now we're going to go on to old business number 1.
Okay. Council has in their packet the ordinance, the red line copy, as well as the clean copy. This would be a second reading of the ordinance. It's occurring after the public hearing that was just held. The building official went through it. Just kind of focusing on the red line copy. Those are the same areas of the code on site coverage as well as building placement that were laid out in the public hearing that are up this evening for potential adoption should the city council want to do that. The building official is still here. Certainly between he and myself, we can try to answer any questions related to the ordinance amendment. Should council decide to proceed with this and adopt it, it would require a advertising period of 30 days, and then it would become effective. We would notify the building community, building officials, clients, things of that nature.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from council regarding old business number 1? Councilman Quillen.
Yeah, I'll make a couple of comments here. I think there is concern definitely in the communities out with Heritage Village and also Atlanta Estates concerning this area being developed. And one thing that you really need to realize, this is an R3 zone. And the developer is trying very patiently to come across and build something that's very nice that will meet the expectations of the developments around them. Now, when we go looking at R3 zoning, what that could mean, housing, apartment houses and things like that in there. So that, by changing this ordinance, we are coming more in line with the other 2 zones of R2 and R3. Now, as Mr. Bailey stated several times that the R1 zone is a 16-foot setback, which we will be making this also a 16-foot setback. So if you look at R1 zoning in the town of Seaford, which I live in one, there is pretty good distance between the buildings there. Now, if we went to an R2, and if the developer wanted to change the zoning, go to an R2, that distance is going to become a lot closer. So I think trying to move through here, because this land is going to get developed in some way, one way or another at some point, because that was why it was put into an annexation years ago, was to develop in the future, and it was put into an R3. Now, the developer is trying to be willing to compromise and do things like that along the way. So I just want to make a statement that it could be, I know the residents in Heritage and residents in Atlanta, that there are some concerns, and I understand your concerns, but I think this here is not going to make any kind of a difference as far as the closeness of the buildings or what the developer is going to put in there. So I just want to make that comment, and I hope we can come up here and work out with some solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any additional questions or comments from the council?
The biggest thing for me on this request is that it's treating a condominium not like an apartment building, but more like a house.
Correct.
And it comes in line with the same requirements that my neighborhood has, and your neighborhood has, and your neighborhood has, and a lot of your neighborhoods have. And that really is only 16 feet. Our houses are much more separated than that in many cases, but they're not in some cases. And the biggest thing for me in looking at this and making this change is that I think it gives the opportunity to treat this category differently than apartment complexes or larger buildings, which do have a requirement, I believe, to be 25 feet apart. And this separates this to something more in line with the residential areas in our city and distances between homes.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any additional questions or comments from council?
Yes, sir.
Vice Mayor.
I'd like to read a statement.
Please.
Delaware is facing a significant and growing shortage of housing. Seaford is among the many municipalities affected by this shortage. We should adopt measures to strengthen our commitment to providing housing within our city limits with an eye toward modernizing our existing zoning ordinances. The proposed amendments to the Seaford Zoning Code, Chapter 15.13.6A, regarding internal design flexibility, such as trading building footprint for paved areas, are designed to keep total site coverage at a strict 35% cap. Because building density, perimeter landscaping, and overall setback requirements remain unchanged, the updates are structured to ensure adjacent properties outside city limits are protected, with any localized engineering or stormwater variations managed directly on site through standard municipal civil design reviews.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Do we have any additional questions or comments from council? If there are none at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the amendments to Chapter 15 of the Municipal Zoning Code that would amend Section 15.13.6 that would revise the site coverage requirements and the building placement requirements as presented.
A motion from Vice Mayor Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second the motion.
And a second from Councilwoman Grassett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. On to the reminder of meetings.
Just a few, sir. Movie Night in the Park featuring Pixar's ELO, June 26, 8:30 p.m. It's in the grass lot here behind City Hall. City offices and utility divisions will be closed on July 3rd in observance of the Independence holiday. Tricia Newcomer, Director of Economic Development and Community Relations, will be the acting city manager from June 27th to July 5th, 2026. That is all I have, sir.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to our liaison reports. We're going to begin with our fire and police with Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
I was able to meet this week with both our fire chief and our police chief, and I submit the following information. As far as fire statistics are concerned, year-to-date so far, we've had 665 fire calls for an average of 3.84 calls a day. EMS statistics, year-to-date, 2,317 calls to date, which averages out to a 13.4 call per day volume. Total responses by our fire department, both EMS and fire, so far this year have been 2,982, which averages out to about 17.23 calls per day. There were several significant incidents that occurred in the community, and those are all listed in the full report. Several of them include fires. We've had a number of fires, including a very tragic loss recently. We've also had several motor vehicle accidents that our first responders have responded to. Our, as far as apparatus, our E872 remains in reserve. Our ambulance 87 was at Frederick Ford for a transmission issue, but it is back home. And we were going to get to, of course, all see our brand new truck tonight, but the weather did not cooperate. Our members of our department have been training. Most recent trainings were boat operations and driver requalification. We do have a part-time employee, Tyler Hudson, who's beginning his FTO, and they have 2 more candidates who are in the process to be hired part-time. Our fire, excuse me, and ambulance services are working with a third-party company called Ensure to audit our EMS billing to make sure we are receiving all money available from insurance companies. And our fire department has been quite busy. They attended the Career Day June 3rd at the high school. They attended Water Days at both West Seaford and Central Elementary. They attended the Party in the Park on June 12th. They had the Easter Seals there to do a tour of the firehouse on June 15th. And again, our new engine 873 is in service, and hopefully we'll get a chance to all look at that at another date. Our new ambulance was ordered in 2024. It has just now hit production. Tells you how long it takes to get that equipment, but it should be completed in early July. And the fire department is investigating the expansion of their building on Atlanta Road. They are out of space at the firehouse. They need additional room for storage, and one of the options they are considering is expanding on the property they own off of Atlanta Road. And I think that would be it for the fire department, because I really don't want to show pictures of crashes. As far as our police department, overall activity, we've had 199 criminal complaints handled since June 8th, with a 91% overall clearance rate. We've had 16 serious incidents within the city. As far as drug enforcement, we've had 9 drug cases, 8 arrests, and 1 response to an overdose. Traffic enforcement and safety, we've had 251 traffic contacts with 120 citations and 18 warnings issued. There have been 30 crashes investigated in this time period, 2 injury crashes, and 8 hit and run, as well as 1 DUI arrest. We did have some major incidents that have occurred, and they are listed in the full report as well. As far as emergency management and strategic initiatives, the city and the county participated in a tabletop emergency exercise where all the heads got together and were able to look at an emergency in our community and assess how they would respond. And our police department is also continuing their collaboration through GVI, which is a gun violence initiative, and the Delmarva Law Enforcement Leaders Forum. As far as community engagement, they have been participating in the Help Initiative Food On program. Our officers participated in the Special Olympics Torch Run, the Hope Church Family Fun Event, and they held their PCAB quarterly meeting, which is the Police Citizens Chiefs Advisory Accountable Board. Thank you. Couldn't think all the letters. Also, I do have a picture up here. The police department was invited to the Haitian Church of the Nazarene. They were recognizing actually their 40th anniversary here in our community, and they asked the chief to come, and they presented a plaque to the chief for his leadership and commitment to safety, peace, and well-being in the Seaford community and respect of other cultures in that community, and that was a very nice award received by our police department and being recognized for that. We did have 4 new police recruits sworn in on June 9th. They were here at our last meeting. We've had several personnel complete FBI leadership training, red dot firearms training, and ongoing SPEAR training. I also think, is there a picture up there? Yeah, it's not in my report, but had the privilege on Monday to attend. Yep, I don't know what I'm doing with my leg in that picture, but I had the privilege to attend the Junior Police Academy. Those students are all, I think with the exception of one is a high school student, the rest are all middle school students. One young man there is coming for his 3rd round of this. The 3rd time he's given up a week of his summer. And I believe it's the gentleman standing next to me with the flag. This police youth academy, they're running a mile, they're doing push-ups, they're doing sit-ups. They have been to the food bank in Milford to learn about the food bank and to help serve their community. They are going to be doing lots of activities this week, and hopefully Friday evening I will come back and see some very weary little faces, but they'll be happily graduating from the program and have learned a lot about our police force and possibly a career path for them. When I did ask them on Monday morning how many of them even thought about being officers, there were a number of hands who went up. So it's great that they're getting this opportunity. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Grassett. I'm going to move on to Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. I'm going to ask if he would handle Code Department, Parks and Recreation, as well as the administration report.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll start out with Code Department. Code Department has issued 138, approximately 138. There's probably more. This report was completed last Thursday, so there's I understand there's a few more permits issued, 138 for the year. There have been 1,861 rental licenses issued, and there of those 1,861, they're scheduling inspections in a rolling fashion to go through and do all those inspections. They're doing routine inspections for the ongoing projects, building inspections and plumbing inspections and the like. They're also doing violation inspections throughout the city, and incorporated in future reports. I will be given some information on the number of strikes and the number of condemnations and demolitions. I didn't have the information quite soon enough to be able to develop that in the report, but it would just go to show that the Code Department is very busy protecting the health and safety of the city residents. And the department's also performing plan reviews for new permits. Continuing the tradition of helpful code facts, a reminder about Chapter 10 rubbish. All garbage and refuse shall be bagged and placed in containers with tight-fitting lids. Per state law, recycling shall not be bagged. Containers shall be placed at the curb no more than 12 hours prior to the scheduled collection day. Containers shall be removed from the curb and placed next to the house before midnight on the collection day. No containers shall be placed on a sidewalk or a public right-of-way. Under large project statuses, under Muirfield 1, Phase 4, 17 lots remain in Phase 4. George Miles and Buer re-inspected Phase 3 prior to dedication, and there's still a few items remaining before that can be turned over. And Ryan Holmes has completed the construction of a new model home. Danfield Drive is scheduled to do a pre-dedication inspection. At the Nylon Capital Center, the permits are issued for the front building shelf spaces. If you drive by there, you'll notice that the roof line has changed, that they're doing some changing the original facade and making some changes to that. And the fit out for the mill has started. The Deltec final inspection was completed, and the certificate of occupancy has been issued. Tidal Health Building is progressing, and the contractor is paving around the mill in preparations for opening up there. The mod wash is now open. If you missed your free car wash, I don't think they're free any longer. There was a short window where they were offering free car washes. D.R. Horton has several homes under construction in Governor's Grant Phase 4. And Aldi, the building is up, the sewer's connected, and the billboard relocation details are being finalized. The building plans are being finalized for permit submission for the cookout. And the Seaford Inn, the final plans have been submitted and reviewed. They're waiting on the fire marshal approval before they can release those plans for the interior fit out. Moving on to Parks and Rec. Some of the highlights there, they completed 8 work orders in the past period. They completed 8 work orders, 21 total so far this year. Do you have pictures of the one? This is a property in Woodside Manor that went derelict, and you'll see in the picture on the left, and the picture in the center, that's the before, and the after part is that underneath of that vegetation was a barn. You'll see that on the right. So you can see the extent to which it was overgrown and out of control. So Public Works and Parks and Rec also participated in the cleanup of that property.
Looks like there's a power line we needed to get to in the back there too, doesn't it?
There is, that certainly did impede the any kind of access if there was an outage. Katie worked on coordinating flaggers for the Sussex Conservation Biopond project, and they're also working with the Public Works Department because the Public Works Department has certified flaggers. The state does not provide flaggers. That's a contracted activity, but Public Works has certified flaggers. So the bioponds that we're talking about, and I just learned this recently, that Parks and Rec has a responsibility of maintaining those. There's one at the intersection of Bridgeville Highway, North Front Street, and Norman Eskridge Highway where the Party Corner is, and then across the street where the Family Dollar is, there are bioponds, stormwater retention ponds. And then to the east of the Catholic Church, there's another pond that needs maintenance. That doesn't need traffic control for that, but that's a pretty intense project that we're responsible for keeping those stormwater ponds functional. During the week of 6/15, they held championships for the Men's Spring Slow Pitch League. Got a picture of that, and congratulations to the Bucks for their championship for this season. And that
The buck stops here.
the Bucks, the Bucks stopped there. Yeah.
Filibuster around.
There's also, I will add a couple of other things that Parks and Rec Department's working with the Downtown Seaford Association for their 250th celebration on July 18th. And the Recreation Department also opened up registration for youth flag football. There's 35 registered so far. And the youth soccer league, there's 30 so far. It's kind of early, but it's come along. They began working on finding coaches for both programs. So the seasons start with practice in August, and the season actually starts with games after Labor Day for an 8-week season. And with your permission, I'll move on to administration.
Some would say that photo is worth $1 million. No?
At least 15.
I'm trying here, man. Try to fill for it.
Try the veal, right? So, in administration, the city manager has been quite busy with various meetings of note. He reviewed some vendor invoices for fiscal year 26 related to first aid services. He's trying to optimize the citywide use of the first aid equipment and the tourniquets that the police department uses, and just trying to consolidate that to make sure that the resources are used efficiently. He met with a contractor at Aldi's regarding the escrow funding estimate. There was a little bit of distance between the understanding of the contractor and the city about fees for electric. The electric construction goes into an escrow fund and gets paid out as it's, if I'm correct, it gets paid out as the expenses are paid, and it's my understanding they've come to an understanding. In other work, he attended the Water Infrastructure Advisory Council meeting, and he also attended the Prescription Opioid Settlement Distribution Commission, of which City Manager Anderson has a seat on the board and is a voting member. So that's a pretty important thing when we're trying to protect our distribution that Chief Kraft has worked so hard to get. You might know some of the other the Nutter Park things and some of the other initiatives that he has. Under economic development and community relations, I guess the big thing would be that she worked with SCADA, a SCADA vendor, regarding the status of their upgrades. And for those of you who don't know, SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It's a network that collects and monitors with sensors different things in public works and the electric department. Under economic development, Tricia attended the Hoot Summit, which is housing and urban development, One Big Beautiful Bill, the Opportunity Zone, and the U.S. Treasury and tax advantages. There's some photos there. By all accounts, it was a very productive meeting, very insightful. There was little sidebars and side meetings where they exchanged information and learned from each other. Tricia also submitted the annual TIF report, the Transportation Infrastructure Fund report. She also attended a meeting with Tri-State partners in Compan regarding the next steps of the Jay's Nest Playground. And she also met with Steve Mullen of the Little League about a travel ball game with a former Oriole player that you, is that ready for prime time?
I think it is.
Can I announce
I
that?
think you
Yeah,
can,
the, former Oriole great Rick Dempsey is going to come to town at some point. And, I'm sorry? Okay, this Saturday. Yeah, wow, it's coming up. So you might want to sneak a peek at a former Oriole great and his travel ball team. He has somebody else with him, Batista? Yeah, okay. Victor Batista, right. And he's a former baseball player, but I don't know if he was a pro or not.
Don't believe so.
I think he was a college great, so. And I think one of the most important things that happened, in my opinion, was that she was involved with submitting the executed CTF applications, Community Transportation Fund application for the South Cannon Street road work. You'll know that when you go down South Cannon Street to the Oyster House Park, it's all broken up, and that's getting lined up to be modernized and fixed up so that people can use it better. Do you have the picture of two Charles Andersons? No, I didn't. Okay, well, there are two Charles Andersons.
The only thing better than one Charles Anderson is
that was at the at this meeting that was recently held, and there's also I would like to mention that Rob Herrera, who is the developer for the Nylon Capital Center, is also facilitated this meeting because of his position on the Delaware Prosperity Partnership. So Mr. Herrera is up and down the state doing his thing, and we're happy to have him partners here in Seaford. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Now we're going to move over to our electric liaison report, and Councilman Mike Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The electric department has been pretty busy with the Innovation Center. They energized a new underground wire for Circuit 280 at Seaford Innovation Center and retired the overhead wire both on Atlanta Road. Installed all hardware and overhead fiber along Tall Drive in Sussex for the fiber loop at Seaford Innovation Center. They did more tree trimming behind Comfort Inn and Golden Eagle, and also trimmed trees for the senior center. Performed monthly substation checks on 615, which was quite electrifying. Greg Brook attended Who Will Stop the Rain in an emergency exercise. Of course, I immediately thought of CCR back in the past century. On 615, he attended construction coordination meeting, updated all the estimates and escrow letter based on electric plan changes and sent to the developer. He did an estimate and escrow letter for Cavan Construction at Park Avenue to send to the developer. Also updated Cypress Haven townhouse estimates. He attended NERC, which I had to ask what NERC was, North American Energy Reliability Council. And it was an under frequency meat load shedding workshop at Demick on 6/16 with Nick Moore. Tongue twister. Future weeks, work in Muirfield Phase 4, work in Seaford Innovation Center, begin Aldi infrastructure, and begin the cabin construction Park Avenue infrastructure. And that concludes my report. Respectfully submitted, Mike Bradley.
Thank you, Councilman. At this time, I'm going to move over to Public Works and our wastewater treatment facility and Councilman Alan Quinlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start off with Public Works. If you haven't been out by this Jay's Nest, it is no longer there. The demolition is almost completed. About 90% of it is gone. Water service repair completed on Harrington Street. Water leak repair on Penn Avenue and Sussex Phillips Street, or South Phillips Street, excuse me. Street signs were installed on Pond Street and on Perkins Streets. Partnered with Blades for 2 days to clean and jet storm catch basins and lines. Water service disconnected at 124 Arch Street prior to a demo. New water service installation for a home on Clarence Street. Weed spraying throughout the city. The CCTV project is still ongoing. Unfortunately, they had a breakdown last week and they weren't able to function at all in cleaning out any of the sewer lines. And all of the routine tasks were completed. Moving over to wastewater treatment and facility compost. The plant is performing and is excellent. Necessary to remove debris from the condensate drain on the oxic drain number 1. Rebuilding the WAS pump number 1. Solenoid valve on rotating sludge and thickener failed and the valve was replaced. East grit collector derailed and causing damage to the wear shoe holder on one bucket. The new holder is now being fabricated. Still completing fog inspections. DMR completed for May of 2026. I am going to start trying to supply some pictures, so I'm going to try to start recognizing employees in the departments of the Public Works and wastewater, so hopefully I'll be getting some pictures up here as well, okay? That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Quillen. Exciting time, City of Seaford. We have the time capsule opening ceremony coming your way on Tuesday, July 7th, on the front steps here in City Hall at 6 p.m. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully everybody else is. If you're not familiar, the time capsule right out front, we're going to, I guess, open, I guess the best way to describe it, and take out the contents and check them out and review them and see what's going in there. I don't know how many people know what's in there, so I'm excited to see what's going to be in there. And for ourselves and city leaderships and city council, we'll put a new care package in there. So it's pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what our predecessors 50 years ago left for us. Mr. Glenn, you'll be there, right? There you go. So looking forward to that.
We put in it.
We're going to find out.
I don't remember.
Me either.
Couple notes I want to hit on before we go to executive session. This past Saturday night, this past Friday night was Friday Night Live, I do believe. Is that correct? You're correct. Good time in the city. Everybody had a good time. The next day, we had Trevor Young Day in the city of Seaford. Seemed like everybody had a good time. Quick shout out to the Police Foundation. Did a great job that day. Deputy Chief Justice David Ball, Chief, was there. Great event. He did a wonderful job with that. We're going to do another similar event, minus the music, on Friday, July 24th. We're going to do Jim Bowden Day. Many of you guys know who Mr. Bowden is. He's really dedicated his life to the city of Seaford in a number of different ways and highlighting Seaford for the amazing city that it is. So we're going to honor him on Friday, July 24th, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. More information to come on that. I'm excited about that day. One more thing I want to say. I want to get this off my chest. I want to give thanks to our residents as well as our council for coming out here tonight, voicing their opinion, to our council for being out in the community, engaging in the conversations, asking the questions of what our residents are asking for on all topics, but specifically tonight, we talked a lot about housing and development, and to know our city council is out there engaging these conversations and listening to our residents, that's how it should be, in my opinion. There are some conversations going on at a state level right now that think otherwise. I think if those things come down the pipe, that is a shame, because that would, in my opinion, reduce a lot of what we do here and hamper that type of communication, that type of relationship. So just speaking on that very frankly. Besides that, I'm going to ask for a motion to enter into executive session.
Councilman Quillen will make that motion.
Motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilman Bradley, I second.
A second from Councilman Mike Bradley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay, we're going to enter into executive session. Thank you very much.